One Piece is one of those shows that draws you in more the more you watch it. From the characters and art design, to the amazing set pieces and world building. But, most importantly, the lore. And like any good fiction, One Piece seeds questions in the viewer's brain and drip feeds the answers to us, sometimes decades after the questions were asked. Hello and welcome to Anime Only. My name is Brandon, and today I've decided to make a list of the top 10 unanswered questions in One Piece. In rough order, from least to most important. Except for number 2, which is more of a community-driven question. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10. How did Sanji get to the East Blue? As we all know, moving from blue to blue is particularly treacherous, due to the calm belt surrounding the Grand Line and the monstrous sea kings who inhabit it. The Navy can only cross safely due to their sea prism stone-coated ships, and it's been implied that pirates like Shanks can cross the calm belt with impunity. The only other way to cross into a different blue is to take a lift controlled by the world nobles to the top of the Red Line and then buying another ship on the other side. Sanji was born in the North Blue, but was exiled by his father at a young age. Now, the question is, how did Sanji cross the calm belt to get to the East Blue? Sanji was only about 9 years old when this all went down, and I highly doubt that he had the funds to take the lift and then buy another ship. We do see him in the galley of a ship when he meets Redfoot Zeph. But this isn't a marine vessel. So how does he get there? If this was actually answered in the show and I missed it, let me know in the comments. Number 9. What really happened to Kuina? Following Zoro's past, we see the biggest drive for him to become the world's strongest swordsman. When he was a young boy, he challenged a certain dojo. The master of the dojo accepted the challenge. However, instead of facing Zoro himself, he chose his daughter, Kuina, to fight as his champion. And after being soundly beaten, Zoro became a student at the dojo with the goal of besting Kuina and then moving on to be the greatest in the world. Although he trained hard every day, every time he challenged Kuina, he lost. Blaming the bamboo swords they used for his losses, he challenges Kuina yet again using real swords. And while this duel was much closer than normal, Zoro proved no match for Kuina. And after a touching scene between the two, they begrudgingly admit their respect for each other and make a promise that one of them will be the strongest swordsman. After an indeterminate amount of time, Zoro learned that Kuina had died falling down a short flight of stairs while looking for a whetstone to sharpen her sword. Zoro, after hearing this, swears to her that he will fulfill the promise they made for the both of them. Now, I know that even the greatest swordsman can fall prey to bad luck. However, this explanation has always rang a little hollow to me and the rest of the community. The prevailing theory has been that Tashigi, Smoker's right hand, is Kuina, and her father had faked her death for some reason. And yeah, I can kind of see it. They do both kind of look alike, and they have a similar fighting stance, and they kind of carry their swords in the same way. It's a tight theory, but not perfect. The obvious counters to this are the age discrepancy. Kuina is shown to be a couple years older than Zoro, and Tashigi appears to be a couple years younger than Zoro, though we're not actually given her age in the show. And counter number 2 is Kuina didn't wear glasses. Maybe if she had, she wouldn't have fallen down the stairs. And Tashigi has been shown to be completely blind when she's not wearing hers. So with all that out of the way, what really happened to Kuina? Did she really die falling down a flight of stairs? Or is there something more sinister afoot? Hopefully, Oda will fill us in someday. Number 8. Who is Shanks? Well, the obvious answer to this one is that Shanks is the man who gave Luffy his straw hat when Luffy was just a kid. He was also a junior apprentice to the Roger Pirates when he was just a kid. And he is now currently serving as one of the 4 emperors of the New World, commanding some of the strongest hockey we've ever seen in the show. But when asking who is Shanks, what I really mean is, who is he really? And the only indication that we really have for him being any other than what is shown to us is this little conversation he has with the 5 elders in Mary Joie. And all we get out of this are these 5 of the most powerful men in the world saying that they only made the time because it was for him. So he must be a very important figure. Although Roger did find him in a treasure chest when he was a baby, so how important could he really be? Is it just chance that Roger found him in that chest? With Shanks showing up in the show again after all this time, hopefully some more answers will be forthcoming. Number 7. How could Shanks lose his arm? Speaking of Shanks, this one always got me. At the beginning of the show, Luffy upsets a mountain bandit, and in doing so, the bandit kidnaps Luffy and takes him out to sea to dispose of him, only to be eaten by a giant sea beast. With Luffy afloat in the water and not able to swim due to his devil fruit, Shanks swims out to save him. In the process, Shanks loses his arm, eaten by the beast. From what we know of Shanks, there is no way in hell that he would have gotten crippled by this big fish this easily. As explained earlier, he's a hockey master and one of the best fighters in the world. But when asked by Whitebeard, Shanks only replies that he bet it on a new generation. But in my opinion, the only way that this ever could have happened is if Shanks deliberately let this happen as a means to push Luffy towards his destiny. I mean, he had to have known that Luffy had the Nika fruit by this point, right? But this too, hopefully, will be explained in time. Number 6. How can Blackbeard have multiple devil fruits? It's been established in the show that anybody who attempts to eat a second devil fruit will die. However, I'm unsure as to how or why. And then, at the end of the War of the Best, Blackbeard appears with a new crew. And after draping himself in a now deceased Whitebeard in a shroud, he emerges with both his Darkness fruit and Whitebeard's Quake fruit. And this is the first and only time we've ever seen somebody gain 2 devil fruit powers. However, I believe this may have been discreetly answered in the show when we got that flashback to Big Mom's birthday party. After finishing feasting on fruit and flesh, she gained the same abilities that Mother Carmel had. So I believe that there is a part of a person that the devil inhabits, and when consumed, the power can safely pass from one person to another. Whether Blackbeard's unusual body even plays a part in this, we don't yet know. But I'm surprised that more people haven't tried eating 2 devil fruits, since it was shown to the entire world when Blackbeard ate Whitebeard. Number 5. What is the D-Clan? Notable members of the infamous D-Clan are Monkeys D, Garp, Dragon, and Luffy, Porkus D Ace, Marshall D Teach, Gold D Roger, and Trafalgar D Water Law. There are others, of course, but the show follows these Ds more closely. So it's stated that the D-Clan are the enemies of the gods, meaning the inbred elite living atop Mary Joie. And experience shows that this is for good reason. Anytime the world nobles have had trouble, a D has been in the middle of it. But it is definitely deeper than the current problem. There's something special about them. It kind of reminds me of the way the Ackermans are treated from Attack on Titan. And it makes me wonder if they aren't actually the descendants of the ancient kingdom like everyone thinks they are, but are instead the soldiers who fought for the world nobles, and were thus spared the memory erasure that the rest of the world seems to have undergone. And then, no doubt after some treachery from the newly appointed world government, the D-Clan turned on them and instilled a drive in their descendants through inherited will to uncover the truth someday and tell the world. Which segues nicely into number 4. What is inherited will? Inherited will is a tricky one, and will probably be a short entry, as we know next to nothing about it. What we do know is that when a person dies in this world, if their will was strong enough, it would be passed on to someone else to be fulfilled. Famously, Goldie Roger's will was inherited by Luffy, although the two had never met and were years removed from each other. Also, now that it's been confirmed that Carrot inherited Pedro's will to defend the Minks, she has decided to forego her own desire to become a Straw Hat pirate and instead lead the Minks in place of Catstorm and Dogstorm and Cat Viper. In place of Dogstorm and Cat Viper. So, as to what it is, we pretty much know. But I guess the question really is, where did it come from? Is it an intrinsic property of this world? Or was it created to ensure a dying people's hopes and dreams didn't die with them? The answers to this question are written on the poneglyphs, and Robin is not telling us what she knows. Number 3. What are devil fruits? Devil fruits are probably one of the most enigmatic thing the One Piece world has to offer. It was shown on Punk Hazard that when a devil fruit eater dies, a nearby fruit becomes a devil fruit with the same powers and properties the devil fruit eater who died possessed. So we know that these are not fruit born from trees the way that the artificial devil fruits called smiles are. Momo's devil fruit is also artificial. However, this was made in a lab by Dr. Vegapunk. Seen as a failure, it nevertheless proves that these fruit were likely man-made from the beginning. So who created them and why? And why are they all so weird? Why can they make a person turn into fire or rubber, or slow down time, or move through time? They're all very specific abilities. Hopefully, we'll get their origins, or at least some information, soon. And before getting into number two's community-driven question, if you've made it this far in the video, why don't you think about leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all this stuff. I don't make any money doing this, but Monkey Brain likes seeing numbers go up. Number two. Who is Luffy's mother? This is a big one. Even though, in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not all that important. Luffy has a father, and it's theorized that a mother must have also been involved with Luffy's birth. Which kinda makes sense if you think about it. And the big ticket winner in the community guess of who this mysterious woman is Crocodile, of course. The infamous Crocomom theory. However, I feel this is highly unlikely, though not impossible with all the stuff that Oda's put us through over the years. Oda has apparently said that he's drawn her multiple times, so I'm guessing that we've seen her at least once. But again, in the grand scheme of things, it's probably not important. Number one. What happened during the Void Century? This is the question, isn't it? The whole thing driving One Piece forward. Theories abound, from a great and terrible war to a devil fruit power erasing everybody's memory. The only thing that we know for sure is the world nobles were up to some shady stuff in the past and are continuing that trend into the present. Something happened that was so bad, or would put their authority into question, they had no choice but to attempt to erase the entire event from history, failing only in part due to the poneglyphs spread throughout the world. But if this is the case, why haven't the world nobles gone out and searched for the poneglyphs themselves? 800 years is a long time, and it should have been relatively easy for them to find and either destroy or hide them. But since Nico Robin is the only person left alive who can decipher what they say, although she's not the only person left alive who knows what they say, we'll have to wait until she can piece it all together. Perhaps into One Piece. And that was the top 10 unanswered questions in One Piece. I hope you all enjoyed this one. It's a bit different than my normal stuff, and I had a lot of fun making it. Although it really did take me a really long time.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
If you want me to cover any of these questions in more detail, or have any ideas for any other topics, or just want to see another list video like this, leave that all down in the comments. I appreciate you all, and I hope to see you next time.